Okay, so we are on to our guided section for Monday's lesson. So we are dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. We are using the line method. So there's 3 questions to have a look at here. Same number each time, 15, and we're dividing by 10, then 100, and then 1,000. So like before, I'm happy to just talk you through it. That's fine. If you want to have a go and then play the video and you can see if you've got the right answers, that's equally good. So imagine if it was in class and we're giving you that choice. Do you want to do it independently or do you want to do it guided with your teacher? So first one, dividing by 10. I've put the decimal points in already on this one because I know they're going to need to be there. If I'm dividing by 10 and I've got a whole number, it's going to have to go into decimals. Okay, so one line because we're dividing by 10, 1 0, 1 jump to the right. So the 5 comes over first and we put it under the line. Do not put it up here because you've got nowhere to put the 1 then. Then the 1 from the tens column simply moves into the ones column. So that's the first one. 15 divided by 100 then, we get our 5 and we move it 2 places, 1, 2 underneath that line there. Sorry, that's a bit of a dodgy 5. Then we move the 1 and it follows it over, 1, 2 there. So at the moment I've got 0.15. You might remember from Friday's lesson, we are going to have to put something in there as a place value holder, which is the 0. You cannot have an empty ones column. You can have an empty tens column. You can't have an empty ones column. And finally, we've got 15 divided by 1,000. So 3 zeros, 3 lines, 3 places to the right. We take the 5 first, always the digit next to the line first. Then the 1, and then we just need to pause and have a little think for a moment. So we've got tenths with nothing in it. We're going to need to put a 0. We've got ones with nothing in it. We're going to need to put a 0. So we've got 0.015. I'm hoping you can see we've divided by 10, moved 1 place. And then between dividing by 10 and dividing by 100, we've moved 1 more place. Dividing by 100, dividing by 1,000, we've moved 1 more place. Always look out for patterns where they are, year 6. Okay, next one. Exactly the same thing. You want to just have a go yourself, pause the video, have a go, and then come back and watch the video so you can see if you were right or not. So we've got a decimal number already this time, 0.12. We're dividing by 10, so we've put my line in here already. We've already got the decimal point in. So the 2 is the one next to the line, so the 2 goes from the hundredths into the thousandths. The 1 goes from the tenths into the hundredths. We've got a 0 in the ones column already, so that comes along here. So I've moved all my digits across, and then we just need to remember we can't have an empty ones column, so we put the 0 in there. Dividing by 100 then, we've got 120.2. So dividing by 100, 2 zeros, 2 jumps to the right, 2 lines. The 2 from the tenths column ends up in the thousandths column, 2 places over to the right. The 0 was in the ones column, 1, 2, and it's next to the 2 there in the hundredths column, so 0 hundredths. The 2 from the tens, 1, 2, jumps into the tenths column. And from the hundreds, we just follow over 1, 2, and we're into the ones column. So 1.202. Make sure you've moved that 0. Last one then is 1,021 divided by 1,000. So 3 places to the right, 3 lines. In this case, if you were doing this on your own, you need to make sure you get your decimal point in next to the ones column. Okay, so the 1 moves over first and it always comes under that line. The 2, the 0, and then the 1 follows on. I don't need to put any placeholders in here. I don't need to put a tens in. There doesn't need to be anything there. So I've got 1.021. Okay, same thing again. If you want to pause the video and have a go yourself, that'd be perfect. Now, I can just see a little mistake here on this slide. So I'm just going to change that if I can find the right thing. There we go. Not sure why that line was over there. So I've got 0.2 divided by 10 So I'm moving the 2 from the tenths into the hundredths, so it comes over here. The 0 has to move from the ones into the tenths, just following it along there. And then again, we're thinking about that place value. I can't have nothing in the ones column, so I'm going to put a 0 there to hold that place value. Next one, 12.3 divided by 100. So 2 zeros, 2 lines to the right, always moving to the right when we're dividing. Everything's getting 100 times smaller. So 3/10, if I divide it by 100 times smaller is 3 thousandths. The 2 moves from the ones into the hundredths. And the 1 moves from the tens into the tenths. And again, I can't have nothing here. I can't have an empty ones column, so we put the 0 in. 0.123, bit of a dodgy 2 there. And then finally on this one, we've got 32 divided by 1,000. So 3 zeros, 3 lines to the right. We're moving 3 places to the right. So the 2 comes first and it goes under that final line. And the 3 moves from the tens column into the hundredths column. And now I've got 2 empty spaces here that I cannot leave, so I should put my zeros in. If we'd have just written 32, and we haven't done anything because it was 32 here, so we've got to have those zeros in, 0.032. Okay, on to the STEM sentences then. So if we were in school, we would be saying them, we'd be whispering, we'd be shouting them. And then we might be writing them down as well. It'd certainly be on your working wall in your classroom to have a look at. So if you want to write them down somewhere, you absolutely can. So to divide by 10, each digit moves, again, fill this in yourself before you listen to me, 1 place to the right. If I can do that with this mouse. To divide by 100, each digit moves 2 places to the right. I'm just going to put an R, I'm not going to write the whole thing in again. 2 divided by 1,000, each digit moves 3 places to the right. So the opposite of what we did on Friday's lesson. So if you want to say it, whisper it at your peril, whether you want your parents to be annoyed with you, you can shout it, and your choice whether you write them down or not on our STEM sentences. Okay, on to intelligent practice. So I shall do you another little video just explaining those questions in a moment.